I should probably have the window open, huh? So I can see if we're actually live. What do you think about that, Lewis? Oh, come on. Now you're answering with that?
Come on, grow up.
1 for yes, 2 for no.
If I were going to communicate like that, it would be Morse code.
You don't have the embouchure for that, sir.
Is that a challenge?
Don't try me.
I think we're live. Boom! And we're live. Oh, man. I thought you were going to spew on that, Lewis. I thought that was the one. I saw you taking that sip. I was like, he is totally going to spray. But you weren't even close. All right, we got Nathan Tyrion here in the chat. We got Chris Wood. We got Intuit Tom. We got us. We got PJ Moleb. We got Dr. Captain Zach Hicks, the moderator with the steel toes. Get him out of here, Zach. Don't let them give you any slack. And I guess it's flack. We got Corey B. We got another person here, but I'm not going to announce this until we get the show going because he's dropping those big dollars in. And I'm hoping it has what I'm calling the last effect, where the money just starts pouring in on this show. Of course, it doesn't help me any. Lewis, we got to get that checking account rerouted. Imagine how excited I would be when the super chat's rolling and the money is actually going to me. Right now, it's just going to LK. Look how much enthusiasm I have. It's not even going to me. We got Sean M here. Welcome, everyone. Hey, if you all would, move to the center of the rows and let's populate the front rows first because we got thousands of people on the way. We want to make space for everyone, all right? And get cozy. Let's get this thing rolling. I think we're ready to roll, although I had this horrible feeling that we're forgetting something important. And usually when I have that, it's something that actually is important.
Did you tweet the tweet?
I have it locked and loaded. Ready?
Got the sponsors already?
Let's see if that worked. There you go, Lewis. I think I just injured my vocal cords. All right. Well, we got several thousand people here watching live. Mr. Ward says, hey, Irfan, I want to co-host someday with you guys. Dude, we can make that happen. Make a sizable contribution to the Super Chat. Hey, you know what? For those people that are in the very exclusive Cult Club, we need to make that happen. Here's the problem. I keep asking people what they want to do, and no one replies. So I'm like, does no one want a shout out? Does no one want to come on and be on with us? I think they do, but we're gonna have to figure out how to get some more interaction. But we're definitely gonna have Hugo on for sure. He's coming on. Me and Hugo, we've been communicating. The communication line has been established on the all-new
Maybe people just need to see it happen first, and then they'll be like, I think you're right. I could have done that too. That could be me.
I think you're right. I would love to have people from the show who listen to the show on the show. Firm handshakes all around. Exactly. PDX Jake. That's my motto. All right. Let's go ahead and cue up Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D. Oh, my dear, did somebody say firm? Oh, Mrs. D, hold it right there. You're going to give poor Lewis a heart attack. Look at him. He's about to keel over sideways.
That's not true.
LK was firm last night.
Oh. I was trying to come to terms with it, and then, I don't know.
You inside coming. You couldn't help it. Mrs. D.
I'm trying to take a positive attitude.
That was repulsive.
It's real hard.
Absolutely disgusting. Look what you did to poor Lewis. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, none of us want to hear any more about any of that. What we want to do is get to this week's Apple Stories and get the show on the road. So if you don't mind, clean up your act, and we'll get this thing going in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus an Apple conversation you're going to have all week long. I'm your host, Jeff Unless you join me today. An imprint of his pinky ring has been left on the forehead of many a Cultimac writer. Some saying it's a rite of passage. He's the managing editor of Cultimac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Hey, it's really great to be here.
You really should get that ring on for the show so people can see what we're talking about. It says LW. Also with us, the beautiful collection of retired computers sitting behind him is all the more impressive when you know it's the result of years of dumpster diving at Apple stores, Best Buys, Circuit Cities. He even came out of the dumpster with needles stuck in him several times. Thankfully, the diseases he catch not curable. He's a writer at CultCloth. Griffin Jones is here.
Most of the vintage computers in my collection are actually eBay finds.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How much does
I have a number of saved searches for a few things that I'm still looking out for.
eMate.
Yeah. I would like an eMate. That would be cool.
What else are you trying to get your hands on there, Griffin?
I mean, I have a saved search for a Next Station Turbo Color.
Oh, dude,
complete
that
set,
would be
but
cool.
you know, it's mostly which are listed on eBay pretty often, but they're just always outside my price range. So I get that email in the morning. I'm like, oh, I wish.
How much does something like that cost? You said a Next
Turbo
E-Station?
A Next Station is the like, you know, pizza box style slab computer,
Okay, let's
and it's
pull
the
this up.
Turbo is the fastest model of it, and I'd like the version with a color screen as well, because that'd just be more fun.
Okay, I'm trying to pull this up for those of you
if
watching.
any of our lovely listeners would be willing to part with one for a significantly decreased
you
price.
never
than the list
know,
price,
man.
but-
I have gotten so many hookups from our listeners, and that's not a humble brag. Like, some people are incredibly generous and have given or offered stuff. I'm trying to pull this up. Oh,
a few
boy, that is
non-Apple
beautiful.
computers as well. There's a British computer called the Amstrad PCW16. It's kind of like a Macintosh in that it has like a black and white display, but it had like its own custom software for it. It's kind of like an advanced word processing machine. It looks really neat.
Dude, the Next Station looks like a PS4. I mean, it looks exactly like a PS4.
Oh yeah.
Look at the I don't know what you call that, the stand for the monitor. Look how beautiful that thing
weird
is.
looking.
I mean, dude, Steve Jobs, I mean, look at the mouse. Everything about this computer is beautiful. He just was able to inspire people, or maybe allow people within the company to be in a position where they could have a product that looks like this. I mean, this thing just looks beautiful. This is so far ahead of its time. Yeah.
The metal that it's made out of isn't aluminum or titanium. It's magnesium.
Wow.
What? Yeah, it's
That's
made
incredible.
out of magnesium. For
That's actually quite a
some inscrutable reason.
because why
I thought
not?
that was a dietary supplement. I've never heard of anything being made out of magnesium.
Well, that was the secondary benefit. You could lick it twice per day, and you could have your magnesium input.
What about milk of magnesium? Is that what it's called? Milk of magnesium?
That's a different product.
What is that?
You want to be careful with that. I think that comes from goats. Yeah.
Milk of amnesia. Maybe that's what I've got.
I think you have been sipping that for sure. That might be true. Where are we going? What are we doing? I think I had a couple gulps of that as well. All right. Yeah. So we got a lot of great stories to cover here today. Well, look, that might be an embellishment, but let me bring up my notes and I'll give you the quick rundown. We're going to be talking about, or we're going to be doing a deep dive into all the best parts of the new M4 iPad Pro. Griffin, do you have this? Did you buy one of these, or?
No, these were taken out of Ed Hardy's
right.
thorough review.
I wasn't sure. We're going to talk about all the AI features headed to iPhone, Mac, and iPad. We got some Siri updates that I'll give you. I'm sure you're terribly excited for those. I got a big leak for iPhone 16. I think we know the new color, Lewis. I think we know the new color. Is it Buster Heine Bronze? Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We got more details on the iPhone Slim, the interesting permutation of iPhone that Apple is working on. Lewis is going to probably go full old man mode and talk and complain about why these albums that Apple has chose for the best albums of all time are extremely controversial. Oh my goodness, look at number 10. Okay, I might be with you here. What? Look at number 1. Now, look, that was a great album, but okay, well, we'll talk about this.
What are you talking about?
Clearly, I was wrong. That album was the jam in my younger days, but number 1, we have an all new under review. I think Griffin's got something that he's going to pitch. I've got something that I'm going to pitch that I have really been enjoying, and so we'll do all that and more. A couple of quick announcements. So just really quickly, yes, it's been a couple weeks since Off Topic has been out. And it's only because I have been so busy, I have not been able to edit the episodes and release them. We have 2 locked and loaded that we recorded. So those will be coming out. One will definitely be coming out tonight. I might just release both, but maybe I'll do one today and then one this weekend. And then we have some future off topics that we're going to be recording. We were thinking about doing one on the state of Movie Pass just to kind of cover that story because, oh, yeah, it's still going. And also what it's like trying to buy a car in today's car market because we were all talking about that and just how insane things are right now. So we might do that as well. And then also, I just want to mention real fast, if you're ever interested in watching the episodes that we do, I should probably bring this up more. We created a URL. Just go to watch.thecultcast.com, watch.thecultcast.com. It's a playlist on YouTube of all of our episodes. And you can just go if you want to and go check those out. Then the newest ones are always available there, and the entire list is available there. So if you're ever bored and you're like, I really want to do something with my life today, well, give us some views on the channel because every view that you give us is like 0.05 cents for us in advertising revenue, which, every half penny counts.
Just open up a stream in a tab and let it go until your browser crashes.
I disavow. I don't think that YouTube allows such a thing, but
come on.
And if you're a CultCast completionist, I usually cut out some bits of the pre-show out of the YouTube live stream. So if you want to see like absolutely everything that we say and do, then you can watch the YouTube version for 100% completion.
That's actually true because we usually do 5 to 10 minutes of pre-show that does not make it into the recorded show just because we're not organized enough to actually have any topics. We just sit here and talk about whatever. And honestly, that might be the best part of the show. I'm like not joking. That might be the best part of the show. It's usually the most fun part of the show. Where should I go first? Let me talk about Notion. Notion.com/CultCast. Notion is a place where any team can write, plan, organize, and rediscover the joy of play. How, you say? Notion combines your notes and docs into one space that's simple and beautifully designed with the power of AI built right inside and not some separate AI tool or browser tab that you have to go use. But it is way beyond notes. I bring this up quite often. You think it's just a notes app, but it's a full-on project management app as well. I mean, imagine if you're trying to collaborate on a YouTube channel, trying to figure out what needs to be done and when. It's not easy to do that with a team, but with Notion, you can create a task list and then assign different statuses to those tasks and then assign ownership of those tasks to people so that you can actually go and get work done. There's a lot of project management apps that are out there that are way too overkill for, I think, most people, which is why I like Notion. You have all of your notes in one app, and within your notes, you can just assign things to people so that things will actually start getting done. And then, of course, there is the AI stuff where you can invoke AI to write copy for you and to do all sorts of busy work that you don't want to spend your time doing. It's a great way to start brainstorming on ideas, to get answers to questions. I'm just scratching the surface here. And I have been surprised to learn that a lot of people, especially in the creative space, use Notion to manage their projects and keep all their notes because it does way more than Apple Notes will probably ever do. So if you haven't checked it out yet, just go give it a try. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/cultcast. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/cultcast, and start turning ideas into action. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show, which we appreciate. That's notion.com/cultcast. For the first story, live from someplace in Ohio, we're sending it to Griffin. Let's talk about the best parts of the M4 iPad Pro, which, no, Griffin, I have not purchased yet. I know that's coming. Yeah, I have not purchased one yet.
Preemptive.
I am probably going to buy one, though, because this is, I think, in my opinion, the biggest leap forward in iPads that we've ever received. And I definitely want one, but I'm going to wait for it to hit the refurbished store. I don't need one yet. That's the problem with the iPad. You just never need to replace it. They last like 15 years or until you crack the screen or your kid cracks the screen right after you buy it. That's also an option.
That is the voice of someone who has definitely had that happen to them before.
And my daughter's like, I didn't know putting my knee on it would hurt it. Oh, well, I guess we both learned a hard lesson today. You learned that iPads are not indestructible, and I learned never buy a brand new iPad for your kids. Sorry, Griffin, I digress.
Well, anyways, we've been talking about the iPads for a couple weeks now, but Ed Hardy has he's the iPad guy at Culture Mac. He uses it every day for his only computer for doing all of his work. So he is really the guy to do the review of this, and I've picked out a few interesting details from his review that I don't think we've really heard talked about elsewhere. The kind of stuff that you can't get, just from reading about it online. So, what stands out most about Apple's new tablet is that it's noticeably lighter and visibly thinner than its predecessors without compromising any of the other features. The screen looks better, the performance is improved, and the battery life is unaffected. It really is amazing. The nearly quarter-pound decrease in the weight of the M4 iPad Pro makes laying back on the couch and reading undeniably more comfortable. The M4 iPad Pro, here's an interesting tidbit, is 50% thinner than the iPhone 15 Plus.
Wow.
We all knew that it was the thinnest Apple device ever, but like 50% thinner than a current model iPhone, that's kind of crazy. The screen of the M4 iPad Pro, utilizes what Apple calls tandem OLED technology that stacks two OLED panels on top of each other for greater full screen brightness, which we'd heard about. But to get a different perspective on it, Ed spoke with Ross Young, the CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants, who said, quote, "Tandem OLED panels significantly boost emitting efficiency, lifetime, brightness, and reduce burn-in. One of the suppliers of the tandem OLED panels on the iPad Pro, LG Display, has indicated that tandem panels offer 1.5 to 2x higher efficiency, 4x higher lifetime, and cut power consumption by 40% while boosting brightness by 30%.
I don't understand how they implement a tandem OLED. I mean, once you put two OLEDs together, isn't that just one OLED at that point?
It's two separate panels, but it is driving it as if it's one display. So like from the iPad's perspective, like the processor is only drawing the screen once and sending that out of the display controller, but then it's just outputting that to two separate panels that are stacked on top of each other.
So is it like one in the top half and one in the lower half?
No, they're actually like two displays that cover the entire surface of the display, but they're just on top of each other, like on the Z-axis. So like one, like sandwiched, like an ice cream sandwich of display.
So this kind of goes back to our maybe conversation last week, where if you have two of these panels together, neither of them ever needs to get as bright or reach their max brightness, which is what I think causes burn-in. If you have OLEDs that are too bright for too long, it can cause burn-in. So maybe that's how they achieve a reduction in burn-in. Anyway, sorry, you're probably going to read this in the next paragraph. It's probably in there. I'm just taking.
I bet that's it, because like I have an old iPhone 10 that I got from a friend when they upgraded their phone, and like it looks perfectly fine in normal usage, but if you turn the screen completely white and turn the brightness up, you can see exactly the sorts of things that burned into the display. Like you can see a little square from where the Apple Maps app shows the speed limit sign. You can see like tabs on the bottom of the screen that are burned in from like the Facebook tabs that are on the bottom of the Facebook app, like stuff like that. So I bet I'm really interested when they're going to bring a tandem OLED display to the iPhone, if ever. Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe it's such an expensive technology that it'll be a while on a lower margin device. I don't know. It is also the first OLED tablet panel with what is called a rigid plus thin film encapsulation substrate.
Oh.
I don't really know what that is, but Apple required the panel suppliers to chemically etch the single substrate from 0.5 millimeters down to 0.2 millimeters, making it even thinner. So that's partly why it's so thin. iPad Pro models with 1 terabyte or more of storage also come with a higher spec version of the M4 chip with 10 cores. iPads with a lower spec storage get lower spec chips with only 9 cores. I believe we knew about that. And I think the open question was, well, how much of a difference is that going to make? Do you really need to avoid the lower spec model? But Ed ran some Geekbench tests. He got a multi-core score of 13,273, whereas the higher spec models score about 14,600. So from that, we can learn that it's really not a significant difference in speed between the two. You don't have to worry about getting the one with all of the cores. Finally, a lot of people have been asking and, spewing thousands of words in the iPad discourse about, why do people need so much power? Why does an iPad, need such a powerful chip? iPad OS is wasted. Well, it turns out that like the thin design seems to be like largely enabled by the efficiency gains of the M4. Ed writes that without the M4, a larger battery would have been necessary, and you can see that the physical capacity of the battery has gotten smaller, but it actually offers improved battery life because the M4 is so fast and efficient. And that's only enabled with the latest generation of Apple Silicon. And he concludes that finally, the lightweight of the M4 iPad Pro is a real game changer. It means I use the 2024 version more than its predecessor, and honestly, it makes my iPhone seem thick. So,
well, this kind of ties into the whole iPhone Slim discussion, which is a really interesting new product direction for Apple to create a phone that is going to be so slim that they think it's worth calling it the iPhone Slim. And it seems as though what they're doing with the iPad is coming in iPhone 17. And there's going to be a slim option. This is a preview of where we're headed for iPhone 17, it seems. If you could get a phone that's slimmer but sturdier, more rigid, and have it have the same battery life and better performance, but also be significantly slimmer, I don't know if that's exactly where we're headed, because they're removing the backlight from iPads, which I think allows them to make the iPad much slimmer because now it's OLED and it's self-illuminating in pixels and stuff, and you already have those in the iPhones. But if you could make something that's super slim but also extremely rigid, obviously that's going to be a big part of it, right? We don't want an iPhone 6 situation on our hands, although maybe we do. That'd be great. That'd be great for our show and for people making YouTube videos, I guess. But for us actual consumers, not really something that you want to have bending in your pocket as you're. I keep mine in my back pocket all the time. It's pretty much where it lives now. Although I did just get a new fanny pack, and I might start putting it in there for.
Oh, dear! Really?
Yeah. You know what, Lewis? I'm not ashamed. I proudly wear a fanny pack in some instances because that phone is so dang big. And I just switched jeans. I got new jeans, and these new jeans, the old jeans that I had, were slim, but they were discontinued by Levi's. And so I'm trying a new model, and I was like, these jeans are even slimmer than the old jeans. And I don't even know if I could fit anything in the pockets anymore. So I might have to go just a fanny pack full time.
So you went with you wear it around the house, huh? Okay.
Well, I don't wear the fanny pack around the house. That'd be weird, okay. Lewis.
Yeah, it would.
But out in public. And you know what, Lewis? I'm going to Disneyland in September. And I was thinking, how nice would it be to have a fanny pack where I could hold my wallet, my phone. Although I guess my phone does hold my wallet since it's a MagSafe wallet. And just not have to have anything in my pockets, Look at you over there, so judgmental. Don't act like you didn't have a fanny pack in the early 80s. I know that you did.
I think I had one at one point, and I don't think I ever used it at all.
Uh-huh.
Maybe
only when you were rollerblading in your spandex,
working
right?
or something. There was some situation where I had to work. I can't remember what it was. But right. Yeah, come on, really, fanny pack. Okay, maybe they'll make a comeback. I don't know.
Maybe we should do an off topic on this. Yeah, although off topic's audio only, so that wouldn't work.
I want to know if your fanny pack is covered in rhinestones.
How did you know, Liz? Well, it's not complete yet. I'm adding the rhinestones.
Bedazzling.
Because I like to do my initials. So I'm working on it. I'm only 2/3 of the way done. It's beautiful. I'll send you a picture. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys are interested in my jeans, we could talk about jeans in a future off topic. I don't know how many would actually be interested in that, but they are slim, man. I mean, holy moly. Sometimes too slim. It's borderline those new baseball outfits. Which team was that, Lewis? Do you know? Was it a minor league team?
I think it was the Giants.
Okay, really?
The see-through pants.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, awesome. Please tell me your new jeans have just a little bit of coverage, and B, a little bit of stretch.
They actually are stretchy. Almost all skinny jeans have stretch built in because otherwise you wouldn't be able to move in them because they're so slim. I haven't shined any bright lights on them yet, so we'll have to do a see-through test at some point, but we'll see. All right, sorry. Are we completely off track? Are we completely off topic? Should I change
Going
the
to
title
baseball is way outside of my wheelhouse of contributing to the discussion.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about baseball either, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I really think that fanny packs just have a marketing problem. I think they would be more popular if people just called them like, tactical utility belts or something like that. Sales would go through the roof amongst a certain
You
demographic.
might be right. I mean, fanny packs is a dated term. I mean, it's like it's on your fanny. I mean, first of all, who calls it that anymore? And no one
Yeah,
actually wears them on their fanny. It's
it's a terrible name.
yeah, it's not good.
You're absolutely onto something with the tactical, mini go bag.
As long as you don't call it a merce. It's a merce. I'm not sure if it's going to catch on. I mean, look, I'm willing to experiment. I'll try it on, and I feel like if you don't have the space in your pockets, it's something to try. And when you're going to Disneyland, all bets are off, man, because you're going to be walking around for 12 hours a day. So there's things that you do in that situation. You got to do what you got to do to survive. So a tactical Disney bag might be a way to describe it, right? You're going into Disney, you're going to be there for 12 to 14 hours. You got to do what you have to do.
It's really great at like if you're going to a place like real roller coasters too, where you want to like take your phones and your glasses off your face and out of your pockets before each ride. It's one thing you put everything in the bag while you're waiting in line. Then that's like just one thing you can put in the little cubby hole and just pick up on the way.
That's totally right. That's totally right. I mean, it is theme park strategy. I would say 201. It's not even 101. It's for people that have been there before. It's like there are certain situations that you find yourself in the theme park. You're getting splashed. There's bars coming down, pressing on your lap. You're constantly sitting down and stuff all day. So yeah, you got to have a way to protect your gear when the roller coasters are near. You can have that.
Maybe it's just all about the design. Maybe the design just needs to be a little less fanny packy.
Okay, I maybe I'll try to bring the bag next episode, and I'll stand up and y'all can see it. I have no shame showing it to you.
Oh boy, here we go.
We should probably continue with the Apple conversation, though. What do you think?
Okay. So Irfan, you said you're waiting to buy the iPad refurbished.
Yes, I'm waiting for the iPad Pro to hit the refurbished store. I have had an offer for somebody within the Apple ecosystem to get me a discount on that. So that will be 15% off. I don't know any Apple employees that have their 25% offs available on iPads, which is fine. They all use them for themselves. I thought that was incredibly selfish, but whatever. So I'll be reduced to getting the 15% off, which will work. If it's in a refurbished situation, then you end up getting a 30% total discount because the refurbished discount is usually 15% from Apple. So that's actually a really good deal. I don't know how long it will be. I mean, it kind of sucks to wait, but I don't need a new iPad. My 2019 iPad still does literally everything I need it to do. And for the use cases that I have for it, it performs exactly the way I need it to. So I don't really need an iPad, but the OLED screen is such a massive improvement. And I think the battery life is going to be such a big deal. I'm also thinking about going to the 13-inch because it's going to be lighter weight now. So I think for me, it will be a big improvement just in general daily use. And then also it's the perfect flight entertainment machine. I mean, you take a 13-inch iPad on an airplane with AirPods Max and watch movies on that thing. It's like, it just doesn't get better than that. Maybe Vision Pro, but I want to have some situational awareness. Like having the Vision Pro on my face during a flight, I feel like would make me nervous because I already get flight anxiety. And so having that thing and just not knowing what's going on or who's walking by me or anything, I feel like would be too anxiety inducing for me. Like I want to know what's going on. So I kind of like the fact that if, turbulence hits, I can just turn my iPad off and white knuckle the hand grips on my seat and pray for 10 minutes. And maybe assume the crash position, depends on how anxious I get. And then when it ends, kind of go back to being normal. And I have to deal with this ginormous, Vision Pro that's strapped to my head for the whole time.
All right, then.
Let's continue. Who's the story next? I think it might be me. But
oh, wow.
Oh, no. Lewis.
I missed
This is you.
Missed the segue.
Well, I think silence could be a natural segue. We just sit there awkwardly for 10 seconds. No one says anything, and that's how we know it's time to move on. Mission
I wrote
accomplished.
it off to. I thought it was Griffin's broadband. His Ohio broadband.
He was
I
staying
thought
so still. We thought that he was frozen.
I thought so.
Yeah, but he
was
wasn't.
gonna have to go run outside.
He was just bored.
hit the router. It's gas powered, right?
No, he could just have his goat do that. All right, Lewis, tell us about all the AI features headed for iPhone.
Newsflash.
Mac?
AI-powered features are coming to. You're going to make iOS 18, Mac OS 15, and iPad OS 18 the biggest upgrades to Apple's platforms in many years. Big changes all coming very soon. We all know Apple's scrambling to hop on the AI hype train. Tim Cook's been talking it up like every other tech executive on the planet these days. But we got some specifics about what's on the way. And this stuff, I as much as I pay attention to this stuff, and as much as I am annoyed by this stuff sounds kind of interesting. Some details cobbled together from various leaks. This is a big roundup that was put together by Ed for our site. So first, the Safari web browser is reportedly going to get intelligent search, an option to summarize the contents of a web page so the reader can quickly get the gist.
Huh.
Which sounds a lot like Google's AI search results.
I mean, this is like every AI engine that does this now, but this is probably going to be based off ChatGPT. So if it is, it's going to be the best. It's going to be the best of what's around. It's
kind of peculiar thinking how that might work, right? I mean, so you go to the web page, you see a story, and you say, "Hey, I don't want to read this 2,000-word New York Times story. Can you just please give me a summary?" I guess that's what it would be. It's basically going to turn every website into what's that one? I can't remember the name of it now. There's some website that everything they write is like the Axios. Every story is like that. Bullet points.
Oh, really?
All broken down. Yeah.
Huh.
You familiar with Axios?
I've heard of them. I have never visited Axios.
Yeah, I mean,
there've been a lot of news sites like that, but I think they're the most popular. Where like there have been dedicated news apps before. It's like every story is just like 5 bullet points too, and they've come and gone over the years.
Oh wow, this is interesting. Yeah. All right, so here's Axios.
I knew a guy who used to work for one of those. Yeah, and it went. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks exactly like our show notes. First of all, it looks like all they did is just take their paragraphs and put them into bullet points, although they did definitely reduce the amount of writing here because every bullet point seems to be one sentence. This is all you need. This is all you need for a news site. We don't need all the hundreds of pages of exposition. Only the facts, ma'am. Right?
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, there are a lot of times where I start reading a story and it's like 1,500 words and I get like, 600 words into it. I've been interrupted 16 times by text messages and Slack messages and phone calls and everything else. And I'm just like, I want to know what this is all about, but I can't get to the end of it. Apple pops up a magic button. Would you like to summarize this? Boom. There it is.
Yeah, it's useful.
It might actually be good. Let's see. What else they got on the thing? So this is a little more controversial. The Safari web eraser feature that supposedly will, quote, remove ads or other unwanted website content.
Wow.
That's from the Financial Times.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, news sites might not, websites that operate and make all their money off of advertising. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but they might not be that happy about that kind of a situation. Let's see. I guess I wrote a post about this a while back. AI-powered cleanup feature supposedly coming to the Apple Photos app that could let users eliminate unwanted objects from images, much like every other photo editing app that's out there these days. Apple Notes might get better at correcting spelling and grammar mistakes thanks to AI. Could also recommend complete rewording of what the user wrote to make communication clearer. I mean, are they trying to put every editor and news site out of? I'm starting to get nervous now.
You're perspiring a lot. I just noticed.
Oh dear heavens! Oh dear heavens!
You're going full bomber over there. Like I see, like you're putting out.
Should have become a carpenter. Let's see. It's assumed Apple Mail will be able to summarize emails. That's a standard feature in rival apps.
Yep.
Messages app should be able to summarize summarize a sequence of text messages. Also, they're going to have this thing that's going to allow you to speak in complete sentences and read properly.
I mean, that right there alone would be the marquee feature. It's like Siri actually understands what you're saying now. That would be a massive leap forward for Siri.
one of the things that hearing about all this, it's like it is a whole lot of like catch up and Me Too features built, like all these other things, all these other photos and all you. But the thing is, I think what Apple's going to do is take just a sprinkling of these things, and it's going to be in the thing you already use. You don't have to go, like the power of the Apple ecosystem, right? It's at your fingertips. You already have all these apps on your phone, and so now you're just going to, instead of having to like have some special AI photo app or some special AI this, that, or the other app, right? It'll just be there, and you know what? Probably be just good enough to suit the needs of everyday people.
Yeah. I am curious to see how fast these things run, considering they're going to try and do as much of this on device as possible. Sorry, Griffin, what were you going to say?
To me, this sounds like the kind of problem that Apple project managers or executives, this is trying to solve their problem, which is like, I'm such an incredibly busy person that I can't keep up with all the things going on. And so basically all these features are summarize this for me, summarize that for me, because I don't have enough time to, like, as Lewis is saying, I don't have enough time to like read a full article or, read all these work messages. But like, as an ordinary person who's not an Apple executive, I don't feel like I have a problem with that. What I would most like to see is, and I think what I've maybe mentioned on this show before as like a theory of what I think they could be doing, because I think it would be like really awesome, would be to have a AI focused or natural language input that's trained on the Siri shortcuts or like the whole shortcuts system of like plugins inside these apps, so that you can just say to a voice assistant like, hey, when I come home, turn on this and do this with my smart home and open this app and turn off this focus mode. And, when I get to my car, start playing this podcast or stuff like that. Because like Siri shortcuts is incredibly powerful, but nobody knows how to use it. Like ordinary people don't set up Siri shortcuts on their own time.
That's a good point. Because you could do a lot of stuff with that, but you almost have to be like a odor to do it. Their support is surprisingly bad for that. I mean, considering they show you how to do everything else, but then you start using Siri shortcuts, and I've set some up, and once in a while they work great for a long time, and then something changes. I don't know what, it doesn't work, and like trying to get it back is like, of course, because I don't do it every day, right? Like one day spent 4 hours setting up a shortcut and getting everything right. I don't know if it was 4 hours, but you know what I'm saying. And then
I hope not, Lewis. I hope not.
6 months later, you're like, what? Something went wrong. Oh my God! It's like going back and looking at it. He's like, what did I don't even remember doing this. I know I did it, but I don't remember how or why or what's this. It's just I find it kind of crazy. I wish there was an easier way to use them. That would be great if you could just like, just use your voice to do things. A lot of things like that. And honestly, if they could do like an effective, like, tell me which 5 emails I need to read right now, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, that would be useful. I mean, anything that it can do to save you busy work. And I think one of the coolest features is its ability to summarize things. I know meeting summarizations is definitely a big AI use case right now, like especially if you're in a lot of meetings and you got to like take notes during the meetings, but like the AI can just give you a summary of like what was discussed and like what the action items are. I think there's probably some space for improvement in there, because I'm not sure that those results are necessarily super accurate, but I mean, ChatGPT just keeps getting better, exponentially better and better and better and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I don't know if any of y'all saw the newest version 1.4.0, not 0, and it's able to do things that are truly, well, to steal a term, astonishing. It's able
according to the demos.
According to the demos, that's true. So some of it may not end up in our hands, but it will eventually, I think.
Siri looks great in the demos.
That's also true. That's also
true. I
said
it out loud. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here because we got like 18 stories left, and we're only on story 2. We've been live for 40 minutes. Where are we going? I don't even know.
Yeah,
we're gonna tell more about Siri specifically.
I think it's. I gave you that segue right there, man, and you just like.
Well, I didn't know if you were done. Are you all done?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm making the executive decision. You're done. Talking about Siri. Oh man, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you more about Siri. Siri could get a more conversational voice in iOS 18. You know what I would find to be conversational? If it actually understood me, Lewis. That would be far more conversational than it is now.
I just got to ask you this real quick. This isn't even really a tangent, but this is happening now to me all the time where I'm dictating into it, doing a text message or whatever. And now it's doubling the words.
Oh.
Like it puts in, like if I say, no big deal, I'm ready to come over. It'll say, no big deal, I'm ready to come over.
Oh, not doing that to me.
Have you seen this?
That would truly drive me berserk.
It is bizarre. I mean, I can understand if it here's the word has and thinks that I'm talking about an avocado, as you've mentioned in the past.
Yeah.
But for no reason at all, just putting in random words, doubling them up. It's insane. So anyway.
I think that's one of the things that
Please continue.
ChatGPT does so well is context, which Siri does not do well at all. I seriously think they are going to completely replace their technology with ChatGPT. I mean, it seems like that's what they're going to do and just license it. I could be wrong, but GPT does everything they wanted Siri to do. So why would they spend their time developing their own system when they're already so far behind as opposed to just licensing it, which seems like that is what they're going to do. So anyway, back to the story. Apple reportedly will make Siri's voice more conversational in iOS 18, plus the voice assistant will gain several proactive intelligence features that will help in daily life. Apple might collaborate with OpenAI. Yeah, we already talked about that. Integrate its chatbot and AI technology in iOS 18. This is according to multiple rumors over the last several months. More importantly, Siri will become smart enough to auto-summarize your iPhone notifications. I don't really know why I would need that. And transcribe voice memos. Now, that could be useful. It will purportedly provide an AI summary of news articles. We just literally talked about all this stuff. Yeah, where was this? There was a part where Gurman was saying, oh, there it is. While AI chatbots are all the rage, Apple is reportedly not developing one of its own. Apparently, some of its top executives are allergic to the idea of Apple going in that direction. Says Gurman, especially since incorrect information from them. Let me read that again. Says Gurman, especially since incorrect information from them has caused controversies. I think we need some ChatGPT going on this website, or maybe in my brain, actually. Yeah, I think it's really interesting that Apple may not be developing their own GPT, but I mean, they're so far behind. I don't know if they could catch up at this point because AI is moving so exponentially fast. But I think one of the challenges for Apple is going to be these GPT services are not free. There is a cost to every interaction you have with GPT because you're paying for the compute, which is how they make their money, I think. And everyone is licensing ChatGPT, and Apple has to pay for those transactions. So I think they are going to try to integrate these interactions into the neural engine as much as they can, but I don't know, man. I mean, every interaction that I seem to have has to go out to some GPU farm, and all of a sudden we're going to replace that and do it on your iPad or something. I don't know if I buy it. I just don't know how many of those interactions are going to be something that you could actually do on your iPhone. But I'm sure Apple, who's much smarter than me, especially in the aggregate, is probably going to be able to figure out something super useful. I mean, look, they're not hiring me to lead their AI team. There's probably a reason to do that.
What if they do charge though, man? Siri Plus, $3 a month.
Dude,
now it works, sort of.
You know what? You may have just spoken into existence something that we hadn't considered, but actually might happen. Like maybe they will give you like a certain amount for free, and then if you want to have unlimited AI, you have to pay for, iCloud Plus or whatever. Siri Plus is included. Dude, if you accidentally stumbled into that, I'm going to laugh heartily, and you will also get a exuberant congratulations. Siri Plus. It'll come with the Apple One subscription from Adam Broussard. Dude, you might have just stumbled into Tim Cook's master strategy there.
Of course, they'll have to raise the price of the Apple
One. Of course.
Subscription plans.
It includes extra features. I mean, that goes up.
Pricing.
New
pricing just announced.
All right. Let's move on from that. No, I can't. My phone, speaking of Siri's, never activates when I want it to,
dear.
but then activates on accident all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Actually, before we move on, who's next?
You're next again.
Lucky you.
Oh, you want to talk about iPhone 16 and the new color coming our way? I do. But before we do that, I do want to give a quick plug for CultCloth.co. You have all these expensive top-tier Apple devices and top-tier tech. You got smudges all over them. Your Apple Watch is constantly getting smudged. I don't know about yours. Mine's constantly getting dirty. I don't know if like the oleophobic coating is worn off or something. Is that what you call it? But every time I look at my watch, it just has like this haze across the top. But of course, a few swipes with the CultCloth, it looks sparkling like the day I pulled it out of its packaging. I can see my reflection in it again. That's what CultCloth does best. It just leaves nothing behind but sparkling glass, metal, lenses on your glasses, on your sunglasses, on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your TV, on your lenses, on your camera. Especially with the new CultCloth Duo, it has a dual fiber design, and the long fibers on one side are meant to reach down and clean out your cracks, clean out life's cracks. You know, it's the truth, Lewis. You scoff. All my cracks are sparkling clean.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The crack between my camera and the knobs where you can never reach, the CultCloth reaches down, sparkling clean crack. The crack between my iPhone case and the actual iPhone itself, that deep crevasse where all the detritus goes, sparkling clean crack. We are all about sparkling clean cracks here at the CultCloth.co company. All my gadgets are sparkling clean thanks to CultCloth, and I'm continually surprised how well they work. If you want to experience your own sparkling clean crack, head on over to CultCloth.co, and use code CultCast to score a free carry cloth, extra carry cloth with orders $20 plus. And I think you'll be surprised and delighted and dazzled and maybe bedazzled at how well they work. I think we need to sell a bedazzled model. That's something we need to investigate.
I do think you should brand those things. I think you should put the logo on there.
Yeah.
You know.
On the CultCloth?
Yeah.
Well, the reason I don't is because it messes with the surface area, like the cleanable surface area, because you have like some logo imprinted. Although I guess we could sew one on.
It'd be really small.
Yeah, or maybe just sew like a tag on.
Emblazon it.
Maybe we should do that. I do like.
We can make a special CultCast edition.
Oh,
it has our like little black and white artwork on it with our
dude,
cloth
or a picture of Lewis on there.
Yeah, just Lewis.
Just Lewis on there.
We can make one with each of our faces and then see which one sells the most.
Special edition. Yeah, and every time you clean your iPhone and you look down at the tag and Lewis is just sitting there beaming with pride at how well you cleaned your iPhone today. Wow. That's actually not a bad idea. All right. Man, all of our best ideas happen on the fly on this program.
Maybe you could tint them sort of like the Shroud of Turin.
No one knows how that technology works, Lewis. It's undiscoverable. Although think of how creative we could be if we could just laser and blaze our pictures on there or something. All right, well, look. Let's move on. Let's talk about, speaking of things to keep clean.
Right.
We got to talk about the iPhone Slim. And then we have all these other stories. We're going to be here for the next 15 hours. We got to get moving. Let's do a quick flyover on the iPhone Slim so that Lewis can go old man mode on this Apple best album of all time story.
Wow.
Griffin.
You just skipped right over the...
Did I skip
You
something?
skipped over your own story.
Jeez.
About the colors.
Oh, shoot. I forgot. All right. I'll do this real quick. Ming-Chi Kuo. One of the only Apple analysts alive that ever gets anything right, besides Gurman. I mean, maybe there's a couple more these days. But Ming-Chi Kuo, he's OG. And he thinks that he's figured out, he's broken the encryption code on TC's communication pathways with the other executives. He thinks he knows what's coming next for iPhone 16 and 16 Pro for the new color. You guys ready for this? How does...
I already know because I wrote the show notes, but I literally cannot wait to hear it again.
Yep. So we already have iPhone 15 Pro in blue titanium, natural titanium, black titanium, white titanium. But close your eyes, if you would, and envision this, okay? A new shade. Rose titanium. Not rose gold, rose titanium. What will the geniuses at Apple think of next?
I've never seen a titanium rose.
Well, you're about to. For only an additional $100 charge, you can have your own. That is the new color that he thinks is coming, which was a massive whoopee cushion deflation for me personally, since you all know that I have been waiting for beautiful Buster Heine bronze, the color that was rumored many moons ago that we never got, unfortunately. And I think would just sell ad infinitum. Does that even make sense within that context, Lewis? You're grimacing like I've just injured you.
It sounded like you mispronounced the word. Infinitum. That's
perhaps
that's the brand of jeans you've got.
Infinities. Yeah, it's close, but I digress. So there you go.
Rose gold.
Rose titanium, which
go
is
back to the
a
old
lot like rose gold.
Well, you're once again missing another part. For the regular iPhone 16 and 16 Plus, which currently comes in black, green, pink, blue, and yellow, they're going to swap out yellow for white.
Wow. What?
Yellow is just too bold. It's almost identifiable as a color. Apple can't have that.
What will the geniuses in the industrial design team think of next? They have all these color palettes. I wonder if they've realized that out of all the colors on those palettes, they only use 7. They could just get rid of all the rest. Maybe just recycle them. And they have all these like special customized lighting viewing rooms where they can see the colors in their true hues. And they only ever use 7 of them.
And they just crank the saturation back from 100 to like 20%.
Yeah, that's all they do is they just change the that's all they do.
Let's make this more subtle.
They change the saturation 5% year to year.
From a distance in the bright sunlight, I can tell that this is slightly bluish.
My favorite part is imagining them, like they probably have countless meetings about this where they all sit around like nodding and thinking about which colors, and it will probably take them like 2 weeks to make the decision. And they're like, should we make it 1% more desaturated, or should we leave it as it is? And
this is actually fascinating. I wonder how they do it. I mean, what if they just they send around pictures, like they post the pictures, which look like 10 times as vibrant as the actual device does when you get it in your hands, or is it like you're saying, like how the famous thing is all the movie people, they're looking at the edits of the movie and they're watching it, in a pitch black studio room with a perfect screen, right? And you turn on the TV in your living room and and it's not nighttime outside and like you can't see anything because it's all so perfectly tempered down so that maybe that's the problem. Maybe Apple, when they look at these things, maybe they're standing in a place where the lighting is just so, and they never bother to like take it to
the real world,
dingy office that has fluorescent lighting.
I wonder how many things that Apple creates are due to that bubble effect that you just described. It's like they live a lifestyle that most people don't live. They don't have access to these buildings that are designed by Johnny Ive, with every detail just perfect, and they need an AI to summarize their text messages for them into one single solitary sentence. Before we move on, I just want to say, boom! We got a big one here from Hugo Last that I forgot about with the $25 drop. I call this the last effect because once he starts donating, everyone starts donating. So just prepare yourselves for the donations to roll in. And he has a comment this time. He says, so I can't stay and watch it live, but I still want to watch the replay. Small request. Anyway, you can put the link for your CultCast Discord in the YouTube. Oh, dude, I totally got that backwards. Yeah, do I need to hook you up with that? I can't put the link in the YouTube vid because then people will flood in who aren't members. Hugo, that's not going to work. We can't have scores, hundreds of thousands of people pouring into the CultCast.
It's an exclusive club.
It's an exclusive club that you only get access to if you fork it over, man. Yeah, you forked many times, so you get access, exclusive access. But I'll reach out to you. I'll get you that link. All right, let's continue. What did I skip? Where should we go? Should we talk about... This looks like...
We have a few more details on the iPhone Slim.
Ooh,
so we talked about this last week. Apple reportedly found ways to significantly slim down the iPhone. The result will reportedly be part of the iPhone 17 series when it reaches customers next year, according to the information. Other design changes could be on the docket as well. Quote, the rear cameras could be relocated from the upper left corner of the iPhone's back to the top center as part of the redesign, which is interesting. They've never done that. The camera's always been on that same side. I think like a lot of Android phones have the cameras in the center. I think that's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder if they're going to be switching up like the camera hardware as well. Research analyst Jeff Pugh recently predicted that Apple will replace the iPhone 17 Plus with this new model in 2025. That this will supposedly have a 6.6-inch screen, which is interesting because it's slightly smaller than the iPhone Pro Max. Rather than sit between the regular and Pro iPhone price-wise, this new model would have a higher price than the Pro Max model, making it the most expensive in the lineup. The mini iPhone and Plus iPhone both failed to catch on with consumers. The iPhone Slim is apparently a change in strategy. I see a lot of Pro Max phones out in the wild, and you would think that with how big of a seller it is, I think it's natural for Apple to think, what would it be like if we made one that's even more expensive? Will people keep buying it? They keep making phones more expensive, and people keep buying the higher, more expensive phones. So I think the iPhone Slim is kind of like our, rethinking a strategy of well, what if we make one that's even more expensive? Will people still care?
There's a lot of that going on all across.
Test bed for interesting designs.
Sorry, I was just talking over you there. My apologies. I was just saying that there's I feel like that philosophy of let's just make things higher price is happening all over the place. I mean, it's not just with phones. And we talked about this before. The grocery store, cars, Disneyland trips. I mean, just everywhere you go, people are just raising prices. I think the car market is definitely an exemplar of that anomaly. It's like there's so many cars that are just insane prices now. And I'm like, who's spending $115,000 for an electric truck? You know what I mean? I mean, are they actually selling that many of those? I don't know. It seems like a toy for rich people. I mean, they're cool. I'm not even talking about the Cybertruck. I was talking about the Ford Lightning, but the Cybertruck is obviously another one. Which the Ford or the Cybertruck is really interesting. I see those around now because as soon as a really expensive, tech toy like that comes out, it starts to show up in tech places like San Francisco. I'm sure, Louis, you've seen them. And it's like,
it's my wife was like, "What is that?" She
like
never
screams and
seen
swerves.
She's like, "What in the?" Yeah, it's just parked on the street. I'm like, "Yeah, that's a Cybertruck."
When you see one on the road, it's like you're being chased by a gang from Mad Max. It's very disconcerting. But the thing about that truck, which I find to be so funny, is it looks so aggressive and tough until you pan down, and it's got Prius tires on it. Have you noticed that? The tires that they put on that truck, they look like hybrid car tires. And I think
on the Cybertruck?
On the Cybertruck, they're the least burly tires I've ever seen. That whole thing just looks like a monster and so aggressive. And then you get down there and, it's like Toyota Prius tires on there because they have to make the thing efficient. And you lose a lot of efficiency when you have big tires. And so it looks like it should have these big, burly, aggressive tires like a Ford Bronco. That's the tires it should have. But no,
those aren't the original tires. The original design they had to scrap last minute because, as it turns out, the original tire design, the plastic covers overlapped on top of the rubber a little bit, and so they started eating away at the tires. They came up with a design of tire cover that literally destroyed the tires the more you drove it. So they had to replace it last minute.
Is that what happened? Yeah, because the tires that are on the Cybertruck look so out of place. And I'm going to guess that they'll fix that at some point, but they do not match the exterior of the body. Yeah. It's you know what it looks like? This might be the best analogy I've ever used on this show. It's like the guy who works out, incessantly but never does leg day. And you look at the guy and he's totally buff, and then you look down and he's got these skinny little chicken legs because he never does leg day. That's why you don't skip leg day, dude. Don't ever skip leg day. If there's one takeaway you have from this show, okay, let's continue. Where are we? Is that it? Future iPhone might go slim?
Yeah, allegedly that was what we were talking about.
Yeah, all right, let's move on. Louis, let's talk about albums.
Yeah.
Let's talk about albums, Louis.
This headline was handcrafted by, you will never guess who.
ChatGPT?
Leander Caney.
Oh, WTF? Apple chose this as the best album of all time?
Yeah.
All right. Leander Kaney's A, still alive. That's good to know. And B, still writing. Good for him.
Still kicking it.
He's still kicking. That's good to know.
Yeah, so if you didn't see, this was like kind of a slow motion. I guess it's not a train wreck really, but Apple released like 10 songs a day, building up this big reveal yesterday. It's the entire list they call the 100 best albums of all time. So, yeah, I don't know if you happen to see it, but we were watching it every day and we're chatting about it in Slack and like, oh, what did they add today? Oh, geez, 10 more albums that maybe don't seem like the best albums of all time. Anyway, the final 10 came out, and the number one album of all time, we just found it really like an odd choice. Their pick, and this is a whole bunch of Apple like DJ what's his name, Zane Lowe and other guys. Their top album they call they made the call of the top album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, 1998 record by Lauryn Hill. And you said, I think in the pre-show chat, you were saying you listened to this and you loved it at the time.
Oh, dude, it was a great album. I listened to this album over and over and over and over and over again when I was younger, when it came out. I mean, it's a terrific album.
Is it the greatest album of all time?
But number one, I mean, especially above number two is Michael Jackson's Thriller. This is why we need to get back to Versus on CultCast off topic. See, we're doing like a music
Do they have
album
it for records.
I don't know, but we should check that out because that would actually be really entertaining. Should we just enumerate the list here real fast, Lewis? So they can hear the whole thing.
The top 10.
The top 10, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, number 1. Thriller by Michael Jackson, number 2. Abbey Road by a little band called the Beatles, number 3.
Not the
Purple
Beatles
Rain
album I would pick, but whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of real questionable stuff on here. Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution, number 4. Blonde by Frank Ocean, number 5. I gotta say, yeah, Griffin was afraid this was going to turn into like Old Man Yells at the Sky, and it's true. I haven't heard of.
We're on the verge. We're on the verge.
I've heard of them. I've never heard that record, as far as I know. Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, which does have some fantastic tracks on it. I guess this is how you pronounce this. Good Kid, Mad City, deluxe version by Kendrick Lamar. Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. Nevermind by Nirvana. And Lemonade by Beyonce.
I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these albums are picked by people who don't really love music. These are obvious, like
they're
top
picked
40
by professional
picks.
DJs. Their job is to love music.
I think they're picked by I think they're picked by songs who love a certain genre of music.
Yeah,
a couple genres of music, and they tip their hat to certain things throughout this long 100 thing list. And it's not like it's all bad, but as our post about this mentions, there's a whole bunch of bands that don't even show up at all, like The Who. Maybe you've heard of them. The Band, REM, Queen,
dude,
Tom Waits,
Aerosmith,
Van Halen.
Perhaps
the greatest. And I mean, not only just a band that put out records that were good top to bottom, but also, I mean, how do you leave out the best, probably the best guitar player that has ever been? I mean, I don't know. It's one of my favorite bands, of course. So of course I feel that way. But some of these, some bands on there got two records on there, right? And you're like, how could you not find room for one of these other groups? Steely Dan had 1 record on there. I would say if there's any band that ought to have 2, it's Steely Dan, because their records are consistently great top to bottom. Every single song, fantastic. There's a couple of Public Enemy records on there. I like those.
All right, chat. What albums are missing from this? People are agreeing and people are roasting us for our taste in music here.
Being old men.
Let's hear what albums are missing. I do like that they put Purple Rain on here. I think that might be in my top 10, but yeah, I would probably put at least one of the U2 albums on here. I'm not sure which. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell.
Joshua Tree by U2 was lower on the list, but it was still in the top 100.
Okay, I would definitely put Joshua Tree or perhaps Rattle and Hum on this top 10 list. I would look to see I think there's probably an Aerosmith album that deserves to be on this list. I forget the album where they released "Crying," but dude, that album was really good. Although it's been a while since I listened to it, and I don't know if all the songs were good. There's one album that they would probably never put on this list because it's not one that's popular, but Dave Matthews Live at Luther College. It was an acoustic show with him and Tim Reynolds, which I think is one of the greatest performances of all time and one of my favorite albums of all time. And the whole thing was live. I mean, they just recorded it live. Pearl Jam 10 should probably be on here. I would pick Pearl Jam 10 over Nevermind. I think.
I don't.
You can rest assured that Fish is not on the list.
So one of the things that we were talking about in Slack when we were, discussing this post, like there's almost no country music. There's not anything.
Well,
there. But,
I mean, these are professional DJs. There you go.
Well, and one of the things that I pointed out is like even like the greatest country, songwriters and recording artists of all time, their records are not great, like top to bottom great, right? Like there's a lot of filler on a lot of those records because some of those guys, like back in the 60s or whatever, they might put out, record after record after record after record. They write maybe one song, or maybe they're all written by somebody else. They go in and bang them out in the studio, and it's I think what they were trying to do with this list is albums as a whole that are fantastic top to bottom and that have cultural impact, lasting cultural impact.
Yeah. All right.
There's a lot of stuff in there that I feel like, granted, I'm not the target audience for this. Obviously, I'm too old. But there's a lot of stuff on there that doesn't seem to me to have the heft of certain other things that are on the list. But, whatever. To each their own. I'll just say, mentioning Leander Katie, I mean, he kind of got into this conversation with us as well, right? And we're talking about it. And in the Cult of Mac Today newsletter, which he writes every day, he wrote that his list would include Radiohead, The Clash, Talking Heads, which actually one of their records is on there, Talk, or maybe David Bowie, Burning Spear, Pink Floyd. I think there was a Pink Floyd record on there too. Spiritualized or Echo and the Bunnymen. But I thought this was a very important point he makes. My choice would likely change day to day, like most people's. And I was like, that's absolutely true. Like,
I'm with you there.
Middle of the winter, cold, rainy day, you're not going to be listening to, Jimmy Buffett record, right? Or maybe you are because it's the only way out of your miserable Ohio, oh my God, when's it going to stop kind of a situation. But anyway, I if nothing else, I think they did an interesting job of like irritating people, right? I mean, it's basically an impossible job. How in the world do you come up with a list of the top 100 records of all time that suits everyone? It's impossible.
I would definitely put the Joshua Tree album by YouTube in the top, probably in the top 5.
Did you look at you probably didn't look at the entire list, right?
No, I didn't. I should go back and take a look. But
they do have, London Calling by The Clash, Kid A by Radiohead. I don't think Leander looked at the entire list. He just looked at the top.
You mean
10.
Kid A? Is that what you said?
Kid A. What did I say?
I thought you said In A, but yeah. I didn't even think about Radiohead. That's definitely another band to consider.
Dave Snow, the guy who wrote this post, kind of, I don't know, taking a little bit of issue with this. He was bummed out about the lack of jazz. He's going on about how, jazz, fairly important art form, right? And there's like, I think where was the first jazz album they put on there? It might have been
the problem with jazz is like caviar. It's just there are certain kinds of people that like caviar.
Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
It's like most people don't want to listen to experimental noise projects for an hour and 20 minutes.
You know what is one of my favorite albums, and which is definitely probably the top reason why I did not contribute to this list in any way whatsoever, is an album by the Weather Channel called Best of Smooth Jazz.
Best of Thunderstorms, Part 4.
God, that didn't make it on there.
All right, look, we got to move on, man. We've been live for 16 hours. We got to wrap the show up.
Hey, I wanted to tell people that if they want those kinds of amazing insights, all they got to do is go to our homepage, click on the link at the top that says newsletters. They can sign up for Cult of Mac Today. It's a free newsletter. Leander puts it together almost every day. If he's unavailable, I do it. But we send out basically all the day's top stories, all best news and reviews and how-tos that we have daily. If you want a daily blast in your inbox, it's free. Sign up.
There you go. Okay, let's wrap up with an all-new Under Review. I know you got something, Griffin. I got something I wanted to plug. I'll let you go first because mine's kind of small and will probably not be as good as yours. We need to get our hands on some more hardware.
I have my hands on arguably way too much hardware. But I don't spend a lot of time writing reviews because I don't spend a lot of time writing, honestly, for being a writer, which is why I'm going to try and do this topic more regularly on this show, this here internet program, so that I can technically say that I have reviewed something. So this week, I have a product that I've had in my car for a long time now. This is the Mag Easy. Let me get the exact name here. The Mag Easy Mag Mount magnetic wireless car charger. So this is, I think, one of the top places where MagSafe can improve your life. A car charger. This is a round sort of puck. It has a clip on the back, so you can clip it like right onto your air vent if you want. And I think this is like a pretty standard part because like the diameter of the attachment thing, you can also get like different clips if you want. Like it comes with this, sort of stretchy, almost like chip clip style deal where you can clip it onto your air vent. But if you have a car with an exposed like CD player or something like that, you can get a different attachment that'll be a little more secure. But anyways, this is a MagSafe car mount for your phone in your car. It provides charging as well when you just pick it on. And what sets it apart from other ones is that it's completely circular. MagSafe is made up of two parts. There's like the little donut ring, and there's the little line beneath that keeps it oriented straight up and down.
Yeah.
But this one is just the circle, so it's really compact and small, and it means that you can freely rotate your phone vertical to landscape if you want. In my car, my Prius, the air vent is directly above the car's like built-in display. So if I have maps going on my phone, I usually want my phone in landscape orientation instead of portrait, so that it's out of the way and they don't cover each other up. So this is really good for that. It offers like I think 15-watt charging, which is like the full MagSafe power. That of course means that you need to have it plugged into a 15-watt USB, what do you call it, cigarette lighter adapter, and that's usually the part that a lot of people overlook in their car charging setup. You just get like a gas station cigarette lighter with a USB port on it. That's probably not going to output the maximum power available to you. So this one outputs 15 watts. It's really easy, and it has a secret trick up its sleeve.
Whoa!
And see if I can show you this with this USB-C cable on my desk. It has. It's not showing up because my office is really brightly lit, but it glows.
Oh.
It has right around the outside. It has like a little LED light. So if you get in your car when it's pitch black at night, you know where to put your phone.
No
Just
mismounting.
stick it on there. Yeah. You don't have to like wiggle it around and try and hope you get it. You know exactly where it is.
And it doesn't drain your Prius battery, right?
Yeah.
That's also
and the nice thing is that what was I going to say? I forgot. Maybe it'll come back to me.
All right.
It's a good product, and I think it's only like $35, and you can find it on Amazon. There'll be a link in the show notes.
Who makes it?
It's by Mag Easy. The build quality is pretty nice. Like I don't really take a close look at it very often, but it does look very nice. It almost reminds me of like the iPhone 5 and 5S because you have like this sort of matte design on the center, but then like it has like these chamfered edges that are shiny all around the outside. It's a pretty nice product.
He said chamfered.
Mm-hmm.
It's a word we don't use often enough, Louis.
It's hilarious. I just bought a car mount like that too, and in the weirdest thing, like the thing I find interesting about the one you're talking about, there's that clip, because the problem I've had with previous ones is I can't get them to attach to my really old truck thing. They like just I don't know. I don't know if cars have changed. I haven't investigated cars air vent technology lately, but
air vents are very different, and I was worried that it wouldn't fit in my Prius because the Prius, like the most prominent piece of plastic part of the air vent is thicker than like a standard air vent, but no, it clips on really well. I remember what I was going to say earlier. Even if you have a car with kind of poor suspension that bounces around a lot, I have not had my phone fall off of this once. Now, a qualifier for that is that I don't have the Pro Max phone, but I think like, friends have put their phones on it and it hasn't fallen off either. You misjudge the speed that you need to go over what do you call it? Like train tracks.
Speed hump.
Yeah, or a speed hump. You jump up a little bit. I'm really bad at that. That's like my super weakness when it comes to driving a car. I always go way too fast over train tracks, but my phone doesn't fall off.
Train tracks, not something you go over very often when you're in Seattle or in San Francisco. But you got plenty of potholes to drive over. That much is certain.
Boy.
It's like lots of those everywhere. Okay, cool. Well, I'll keep mine quick. So I had a unique problem, or maybe not unique. I'm broadcasting to you live from the very powerful Cult Commander. Yes, it's a PC. But, when you're doing a live production, I feel like having a PC is the best way to go because a lot of the apps that you use are native to PC. And so I really wanted to have some PC speakers, but I didn't want to go out and buy PC speakers. Like, PC speakers are expensive. They're like between, you could spend $50. Well, you could buy $10 speakers and just have them be complete garbage. But you could also spend $50 or $100 or more on PC speakers. But I don't want to have another set of speakers on my desk. I already have my HomePod minis. And I'm like, why can I not just use my HomePod minis with my PC and have the audio go to my HomePods? Like, there's really no good way that I found to make that work. But there are apps that you can use. And so I tried a whole bunch of stuff. And I landed on this app called TuneBlade. TuneBlade, which is kind of old. I mean, it's been around forever. And it is by far probably the best $10 that I've spent. It allows me to stream Windows audio to any AirPlay-enabled device in my house. And it does it with almost zero lag. So like when I'm watching a video, the audio that is being played on the speaker matches what's happening in the video, which is important. And it's rock solid. Like the connection never cuts out. There's no static, which is a problem that I've had with other solutions that I tried. And I can play the same audio to like multiple speakers throughout my entire network. The sound quality is uncompressed, sounds really good. There are some
and it
other
works with both HomePod minis in a stereo pair.
Yes, and it also will work with a stereo pair. And this is the only app that I have found that will actually do that. Like some of the other apps that I tried, well, first of all, it wouldn't even necessarily be reliably able to connect to multiple HomePods at the same time, or even one HomePod. Sometimes you get like these weird like machine noises. It sounds like aliens are interfering with your network because they're about to come and invade. Or they couldn't take advantage of HomePods in a stereo pair. And this app can, and it's $10. It's $10, which for what it does for me anyway has been dirt cheap. So it saved me probably, $80, $90, $100 because I was going to have to buy speakers, and I wanted nicer speakers. I didn't want to have like these tinny, crappy sounding speakers. And so now I can leverage my HomePod minis or my HomePod for my computer speakers. And it does more that I'm not even talking about, but it's like a Swiss Army knife for streaming audio on your network from your Windows, PC to your Apple stuff. I know for a lot of you, like you don't have any Windows machines, but there are a lot of us that have to live in both ecosystems. Like I have to have a PC and I have my Mac, and I would like these things to play together nicely, at least in some way. And this has been the best way that I have found to actually stream audio from a Windows setup into, Apple products. So it's called TuneBlade. It's tuneblade.com. I'll link it in the show notes. And like I said, it's only $10, which it's totally worth. Now, they do have a free edition that you can use. If you want to just try it out, you could download it and use it, but every 10 minutes it will stop. So you have to like reboot it after 10 minutes. And it's definitely annoying. It's nagware, but it does work if you just have a limited use case for it. Like you just need to work for a short period of time, then you can use the TuneBlade app for free. But after 10 minutes, you're going to have to restart it if you want the audio to keep going. All right. That's it. That's all the time that we have. And we've been live for 16 hours and 45 minutes. I'm parched. I'm ready to go eat something. Lewis looks emaciated. Look at him. Look at poor Lewis. Look at what we've done to him. That's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But the party continues. Oh, the party is always there in the very exclusive halls of the Cult Club. And you could join if only you would just fork it over. It's only $5 a month. I mean, do you not have $5 a month for your good dear pals over at the CultCast? Don't you feel guilty that you haven't forked it over? Think how much better you'd feel if you just forked it over. Think how much better we'd feel if you forked it over. We'd feel great. You might feel a little worse, but we'd feel great. Just something to consider. Support.thecultcast.com. Support.thecultcast.com. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. And we will see you guys next time. I thought I'd go low for that one. You looked surprised, Griffin. You didn't know I could go that low. I'm like Prince. I have the full range. You know?
5
Must be
octaves.
the skinny jeans.
I've already got his outfits. Now I need is maybe an extra octave or 2. I don't know if I have 5. Probably pull off 3 though. I saw Prince live once when he was doing that that look with the no butt cheeks on his pants. I saw that. Remember that look that he was doing with no fabric covering his butt cheeks?
Out of my memory.
I saw that live, Liz. Don't act like you're not jealous. He's speechless.
All right then.
I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Bye, y'all.
Looks like you survived mostly intact.